Listen now to the ugly, angry noise of the Palestine controversy.
75 years ago, a CBS newsman was murdered.
That's the getaway car. It's swinging around to make a run for it.
Shot in the back of the head.
The muzzle of the gun held firmly against the base of his skull.
Bound at his hands and feet.
The body was fully clothed.
Tossed, still breathing, into the sea.
A 34-year-old, tall, lean, blonde American, full of courage and an insatiable appetite for truth.
His name?
This is George Polk reporting from Athens.
But who killed him, and why?
I said to him, you can't say those things in a civil war.
In the Greek Civil War of the late 1940s that pitted a U.S.-backed government against communists, George Polk was determined to get Americans both sides of the story.
Irritating both to Washington and to Athens.
He wrote me that I'd like to get to the people who count.
I'm afraid for this trip. I really am afraid.
This was a very conspiratorial political assassination.
News of Polk's murder shocked the world. The man known as the father of American intelligence stepped up to investigate.
General Donovan's real loyalty and real affiliation was still with the CIA.
He said specifically, we are in a war.
Witnesses answered that the communists must have done it.
But early on, there were doubts.
He said, you'll ruin your career if you keep up this line of inquiry.
An innocent man was sentenced to life in prison.
I tried to commit suicide twice.
Decades later, evidence would point to another motive for the killing, a secret New York bank account, and a vow by our reporter to expose it.
I think he paid for that remark with his life. I really do.
There are many unsolved questions surrounding this case. It may be that the full story will never be told.
But we'll tell it here. I'm Steven Portnoy, a CBS News radio correspondent, just as our late colleague was. And in this program, I'll bring to light an infuriating story of injustice, international intrigue, and a Cold War cover-up involving the CIA and the press.
There were many missing links and missing persons.
It was a targeted attack on a journalist, a story that echoes today.
Those of us who knew George and worked with him can never cease to be concerned about his murder.
Who do you think killed George Polk?
This is George Polk reporting from Athens. Now back to CBS New York.